Hello, everybody, and welcome on into Sidelines. I'm Drew Patrick. On today's show, we have a jam-packed set as we go 5 wide to talk track and field's historic day. Plus, we talk with both men's basketball and women's basketball. Welcome back here to Sideline. I'm joined by the quartet that ran one of the fastest indoor 4x4 meter relays in school history. That is Terrance, Quaker, Mamadou, Diallo, Christian, Tanner, and Caden Fisher. And thank you all so much for stopping by.
Thank you for having
us on.
So let's break down that race. Let's start with you, Terrance. You were that lead leg. What was the strategy going in? What were you seeing on that first leg?
So the strategy going in, obviously, I mean, you want to win your leg, and leadoff leg's a little different than the other legs, so yeah, some of the split time doesn't get cut off, so like it's just straight out, and my goal was to at least be coming in at first, and that's what it happened to end up being. I mean, I already ran a low 50 earlier that day, so I was feeling good, and you know, I was lucky enough to have good teammates to finish the race for me.
Move on to leg 2. Mo, what were you seeing?
Terrance came out, he came barreling down, and I can hear my coach yelling, "You don't mess this up." So he came barreling down, and I remember about to get the baton. So when you're about to get the baton, you line up in order of who's about to get it, and with 150 meters to go, Terrance is in 4th. So I'm lined up between 3 other guys, and I'm waiting for Terrance to come in, and then he just starts picking everybody off. And as he's picking everybody off, I'm pushing people to the side, like, all right, watch out, my teammate's coming through. And it ends up being me, and I forgot the other school. Do you guys remember? Walsh.
I want to say
no, it wasn't Walsh. It was a PSAC school.
Yeah,
it was another Seton Hill. Yeah, no, it wasn't Seton Hill. It was another school, but Cal. It was us and Cal, and Terrance comes barreling down. I give him like a little bit of a lead that I wasn't supposed to because he works the hardest because he's the first leg, and I got it. And my goal was to stay behind the guy and then eventually pass him and hand it off to Tanner. So he was gonna like keep the lead going.
So let's talk about that third leg. Gets to you, Christian. What do you see?
He ended up, I had to switch my order the last little bit. Without 75 meter, he jutes back in front of the guy, takes the first place. So now I'm okay. I got to make sure I get the handoff good. We had a really smooth handoff, which was great, pushing it right to the very end of that exchange zone. But going in and make sure I was just up on my toes. I knew the guy was right behind me, and he was a tall guy, so I had little strides compared to him. So I just made sure I had good form, good extension, but then bringing it into Caden, I just made sure that I gave him a lot of time to get up to speed and make sure that he had the best possible lead that he could bring us home with him.
And then the anchor leg. Talk me through it.
Well, I saw Christian coming in, and only thing I think of was don't screw this up. pretty good lead.
Don't blow the leash.
And we probably had, what, like 10 meters?
Yeah, 10, 15 meters. Like, he had the guy by a good bit.
It was good because the kid came out way harder than he should have, and then tried to pass you on the turn at the end. He was dead.
Yeah.
He wasted all his energy in the beginning trying to catch me. And then we got to like the last 60 meters, and he eventually did catch me. But then it was just like who had more at the end, and we finished it.
Absolutely. Well, so talking about that race, obviously you guys finished one of the fastest times in program history. How does that feel?
It feels pretty great, to be honest. I mean, I didn't even know we broke it. I was like, all right, you know, we got first in our heat. I mean, that's cool. That's good. And then you see Coach Rell like jumping up and down and running around. I'm like, you don't see that too often. So I knew we must have did something good besides winning. I
mean, I think the goal was coming in just because I don't think any of us really wanted to run it at first. Because when you think, after you've done your event, the 4x4 at the end is the last event. Every team is watching it. You're all rooting for your team. So we saw our teammates standing on the sideline. And at first, you don't want to run it until you get the baton in your hand and you're just running at that point. So we ran our race. Everybody put in their all. And we didn't think we did anything special because we just ran and we won the heat. And we were so excited because we placed 5th overall, I think, in the meet. And then we figured out, like, oh, it's 3:24. Like, that's pretty fast. I mean, in the PSAC, we're ranked now in terms of placing for PSAC finals. So it was a pretty good race.
So you guys not only were great, as you mentioned, as a team, but individually, you guys had stellar days. So let's go around again and talk about individually how you guys did running that 4 free as well as the 4x4. How'd you feel in that first 400 of the day?
After I ran the first 4, I was happy with my time, but I mean, it was one of those tides where your head's dizzy, like even the lights hurt your eyes, and I laid down for probably like 15 minutes and then started to move around and walk around and felt better, but it felt a lot better the second time around versus the first. I feel like the first one always kills you.
Yeah.
Hey, if the first one killed you, having a PSAC time on the first one, though, if that killed you, that's a good sign looking forward. Well, you're open 4. How did you feel during
I was in lane 7, and I remember like figuring out the competition in the lanes, and there was a guy in it called Jalen Means who won the PSAC title for the 60, the 2, the 1 for the last 4 years. So I knew he was going to be quick. I PR'd, I did a pretty decent race. I came out really hard, and then had tried to bring it home. I didn't have enough to bring it home, but I still ran like a PR time, and I was happy with the fact that I ran a PR. But I know next week I'm going to have to do much better. So.
And let's go to Caden real quick because you also ran in that race, made the Open 4. How did you feel during your race?
I didn't feel like great. I never did the Open 4 before, so like it was something new. He didn't have me do the hurdles this meet, so doing it, I didn't come out with like a good time, but it definitely prepared me for the 4x4. So I already got it out of the way.
And then Christian, I guess you're the odd one out of this group. As the 4x4, that 400 was the shortest amount of distance that you ran at that meet. So talk me through your couple of races and what were the key to your success?
I did the 8. Just basically coming into the day, focused on time. I knew I wanted to go fast. Once we were getting to the meet, I explained to Coach, I'm ready to go fast. I'm in shape. I want to go. I'm going to stick with the lead guys. I'm ready for this. We talked strategy. We knew the first guys were going to go out in about a 27 for the first 2, just hang on to them. But I wasn't too sure. I wasn't getting any signs if it was going to be a good race or bad race through the legs. So it's kind of, okay, what am I going to make of it? And went out right on exactly what I was supposed to go out with, hung on with the guys, and once that bell started to ring, I was really in the move. And once we started making some moves and then came off that last corner, tried to fight off that guy or fight to that guy. He's twice the length of my legs were, so really tried to barrel in on him, just missed it by a little bit, but pretty good to have a 155. I mean, that's what we were looking for all day, just focus 55, 55, 55, so turned out to be okay.
I think it's an interesting dynamic between this 4x4 team, because you guys, you're traditional 400, you're used to that. You two, you're the distance and you have hurdles, so having to make that adjustment, really, what are the challenges in making that adjustment, getting ready for a 400, being used to not running that race?
Well, for me, the hurdles are only indoor 60 meters, outdoor they're 110 meters. So doing the extra 300, 340 meters, you have to really have endurance and keep that pace. And that's what we do at practice. We do pacing every Monday, Wednesday, and yeah.
I'd say that the 8 also helps with the 4, so I'm used to doing them 2 back-to-back if I'm doing for outdoor, but also they'd be more of a training for my 8s in the mile, so it just come more natural.
So looking at this, what can you take from this meet looking forward to the next one with Bucknell and then Boston coming up looming?
I mean, we're excited because we saw the time that we can possibly put up, and that was the first time we ran it. So we just fixed a couple mistakes that we might have made, maybe some more endurance training, and we know definitely we can make a mark in the PSAC or make some noise because everybody's going to be like, is this Mansfield running a 4x4? Hasn't been done in a while, so that's what we want to do.
Just go harder.
Yeah.
Well said. Re-break that record.
Well, guys, thank you all so much for stopping by here.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
And Sidelines continues after this break. Do not go anywhere. Welcome back here to Sideline. Joining me at the desk are two members of the women's basketball team, and Sydney Reed and Paige Whitfield. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thanks for having us.
So let's talk about last week. Two very hard-fought games. Ultimately didn't get the victory in those games, but it was close through the whole game. What do you guys have to do to take that next step and get over the hump?
Honestly, I think from the first game of the season up until now, every game is an improvement. We've started off having it in the first half and then just kind of falling behind in the second half. And these past two games really showed us that we can play all 4 quarters with everyone on the bench, and that just from here on out, like, we're ready to win.
Yeah, I think these past 2 games we've really been trying to find ourselves, and we've been doing a pretty good job at that. We're kind of just fitting the pieces together, and we're trying to piece together a full game.
So let's talk about that Shepherd game to start here in particular. With a lead in it, it did slip away there at the end. What do you think it has been in the fourth quarter? That is it something in the mindset or something that has gone wrong this year, and you guys have to find that way to, again, get over that hump in that final quarter?
I think it's really when they go on a run, we kind of all just put our heads down or just kind of take a step back, and it's just dang, well, now we're out of this. But in reality, we're not out of it, and we can just keep going and come back just like we did that last game.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's definitely a mental thing. We just kind of got to work through it and get past it.
So talking about that next game, you mentioned it was a close-fought fourth quarter, ultimately on the wrong side of that at the very end. But how much does that help going forward to know that you guys played a full fourth quarter, and now it's just about making sure that at the end of the game you're on top in that fourth quarter?
I think it just really proved it individually, all of us, that we can do all 4 quarters. And we say that we want to play all 4 quarters. Every time we get in at halftime, we're all right, we still have 2 more quarters we have to play through. And then we'll go in and we'll end up losing by 15 or 20 or whatever the case may be. But this one really showed us that if we just keep our heads up, no matter if they go on a run or we go on a run, we turn over the ball or whatever, that we can stay into it no matter what.
Yeah, we're continuing to improve, and we're just piecing all everything together. We're playing more as a team. I think that's going to help us in the long run to finish it out.
You know, it's fascinating to watch you guys because you're still a very young team. You aren't seniors, but you're pretty much the elder group of this group. How important is the leadership role that you guys have seen really improve this year been to a young program?
I think it's really just the younger ones just getting themselves accustomed to playing all 4 quarters and coming through different adversities, having GP have to sit down right before the game. We didn't even know she wasn't playing, and having to play through something like that, and just learning that each game you do get better and it doesn't keep going down from there. You can still come up.
I think we're learning to stick together, and the more that we stick together as a team, the better we are.
There are some other challenges too. Paige, you came in as a guard, expecting to be a guard throughout your entire college career, and are now at the forward spot. Sydney, you're getting a lot of playing time just based on the bench having fewer people on it now, so you're expecting to play a large portion of the game. How have you guys adapted to those changes?
At first, I thought it was a little crazy, but after just practicing in that spot, I accustomed very well. I just felt more comfortable, and now I feel very comfortable in that spot, and I'm even comfortable enough to go back to my guard spot. If we have both of those forwards in there, Jazz can grab the 4 spot now. And it was just really getting accustomed, and after the first couple games, it got out of my head that I wasn't in my normal spot.
Yeah, I think it's really cool that we have a different dynamic than a lot of other teams. We play a lot of guards, but people like Paige have to end up playing the post positions or guarding the posts. But it's been really good, I think, for us so far.
What do you think has been the hardest transition from that guard spot to the post spot?
Personally, I think it's guarding a post, because I usually end up on their 4, which is usually a taller girl, and just getting out of that, having to learn how to guard somebody that's posting you up. It's much tougher than just playing a one-on-one on just on your feet. But I think that was the most difficult part of switching to a 4 spot.
And then Sydney, as I mentioned, with you getting in there and playing more of the game, conditioning-wise, what do you have to do to make sure that you are good and solid for as long as you have to be in, which may be 35 minutes of a game?
I think it's become very evident to me that I've got to push myself a little bit more because I just don't have the legs for it. I got to work a little bit harder at it.
So looking forward to this week, we have a couple of road trips. First, a PSAC West opponent in UPJ. What do you guys expect from that matchup?
From what I've seen, we really haven't gone over it much right now, but for what I know they're pretty guard-oriented as well, and I think it's more that we'll be able to either hit into the post or have a lot of kickouts for this game.
Yeah, I think we got to continue to play together. I mean, from what I've seen from them, they've competed with some of the top teams in our conference, and we've been right up there with some of the good ones as well. I think it'll be a good game if we just continue to play hard and play together.
So another thing with that UPJ matchup is that's not a short road trip to make on a Wednesday, pretty much Wednesday morning, to play in the afternoon. What kind of adjustments do you guys have to make on those long road trips? I think I've asked this question before, but truthfully, on those longer than normal road trips, which, I mean, you could say that for Mansfield all the time. It's a longer than normal road trip for us. But what do you have to do to mentally adjust for those long road trips to make sure that, yeah, you were sitting for 2-3 hours sometimes, but now you got to be up and ready to play a game?
I think our team is very good at, like, whenever we enter their campus or we get onto their campus, that we're ready and we're focused. And then stretching is obviously the most important part, just because we've been on that bus for so long and we're stiff.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a mental thing. We got to get off the bus, just get our minds going, and then everything else just follows.
And then come the weekend, it is round 2 now for all the PSAC East schools. Westchester, you guys get your second shot at that group. What do you take from that first game to the second one?
Honestly, it was just that second half that really got us there. I think if we just show up and play, we will beat them.
Yeah, I think we can definitely learn from the mistakes we made the first time around, and this time we can go at it a little bit harder and get that one.
I mean, you got another long road trip there down to Westchester, but best of luck this weekend, and thank you guys so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Sidelines continues after this. Do not go anywhere.
Community, close-knit, it's beautiful. Now, as we join UPMC, it just opens a whole new world.
Together, UPMC and Susquehanna Health are bringing life-changing medicine to north central Pennsylvania.
UPMC brings extraordinary innovation to virtually every aspect of the work we do.
Exchanging ideas, sharing research, it's a tremendous opportunity to learn in real time with world-class experts.
Changing lives every day. UPMC Susquehanna.
From court to court and lane to lane, under the lights or under the sun, no one delivers Division II sports like NCAA.com. The center of D2 is inside the NCAA.com hub, with exclusive highlights of every sport and live broadcasts of every Division II championship found nowhere else. Make NCAA.com yours, the home of Division II college sports.
Welcome back into Sidelines. Let's talk men's basketball Now, as we have joining me at the desk, Mike, Rell, and Jazz Farrell, thank you both so much for joining me.
Yes, sir. How we doing?
So let's talk about last week. 2 conference games, 2 important games. Starting with that Wednesday win, it was a back-and-forth battle. Jazz able to get that final point. Talk me through that final play.
I mean, coach believed in us. He said that just make a play. It was about like 20 seconds left. He just said, guys, just make a play, because the other dude, I don't really know his name, he scored off a screen. I thought he was going to use a screen, but he ended up like going the other way. So Coach Trev. I said Coach Trev. Coach John was like, oh, just make a play. So I just went back door. I seen his head turn the other way, and I just slipped in and scored.
And Mike, you got the start this week. Battling with injuries, though, throughout this year, able to be put up in that starting lineup. I'm sure that felt great.
Yeah, it's just good to be back and healthy and working with the guys, working hard in practice and stuff, and got an opportunity, and we ended up with a great win.
So that Shepherd game, what do you guys have to do? And sometimes this year, the second half has gotten away from you guys, but to stay sturdy back and forth in a game that was really seesawing the entire game, what do you have to do to stay rock steady?
Number one, Rhodes, play hard for 40 minutes. That's what Coach always told us. Just stay together. I think sometimes the other team might go on a run and we kind of just lose focus for that span. We got to come together, stay together, and realize like they just made a few baskets. We're still in the game, And if we do that, then we always regroup well and get ourselves back in it and have a chance to win.
I think a big factor of this team, or one of the great attributes from this team, is your ability to really mold into different roles. There's been several starting lineups. You've both been in and out of the starting lineup throughout this year, plus certain different roles depending on the game. How important is that fact that you guys have the flexibility to really do whatever role you need to for that game?
I think it's very important. I think it has to be a certain level of trust, with the coaching staff and the rest of the team. Like, when your role's constantly changing, you got to trust what the coaches are telling you and what your teammates are doing out there, and just believe that whoever's in the game is going to make plays and cheer each other on, and hopefully it leads to a win.
Coach in practice yesterday, he just said whatever they put in new, we just have to trust it and make it happen. He said that whatever they could put in new plays, it's just we have to just follow through and believe it's going to work.
And Jazz, real quick to you, this is your first year here as a freshman. What have you seen as the biggest change from the high school level to the collegiate level?
First thing I could say is the guys up here, they actually play for something. They're grown and they're stronger. And I wouldn't really say that competition-wise isn't really a big change because Florida had some hoopers, but the biggest difference is they actually play for something, because some dudes in college actually have kids and they really need this. But in the high school level, you're just playing just to play basically, or just to come to the college level and play.
Yeah, I'm sure the biggest transition for you is when you walk outside. Now the air hurts your face. Right?
Yeah.
No, so let's go forward then to Saturday. Millersville, obviously the game didn't go the way we wanted it to go. What were some of the little things that went wrong there in that second half?
Like I said earlier, they went on a little run and we kind of just, collapsed and panicked. And that's the one thing we can't do is basketball's a game of runs. So when a team goes on a run, we can't fold from that. We have to come together and regroup and talk to each other. Hey, what's going wrong? What are we doing wrong here? Okay, we got to do this, and regroup and always believe that we can get back in it.
I felt like that game we didn't really have that individual who wanted to lead the team. We were all looking at each other yo, what are you doing? Oh, you're supposed to be in this spot, and we can't do that on the court. We just have to come, huddle up as a group, and just say yo, what are we doing? We have to tighten up and just make a play and just get back in the game. Because earlier in the game, they went on a run and we were down by about 10, 11 points, and we came back at halftime. It was tied up.
So what do you have to do during that time after that run to steady the group and to try and get the wheels back on and maybe go on a run of your own?
I think you just got to huddle everyone up, get everyone together, like either during a timeout or on the floor, itself, maybe during free throws or a dead ball, and just tell each other, like, hey, we're fine. They made a few shots. Don't worry about it. Let's just keep playing hard, keep playing defense, and run good offense so we can get back in it.
Yeah, that too, especially if, like, one of your teammates make a mistake, you got to, like, pat them on the back and say, yo, next play, stop jolting on the pass. You just make a new play. Like, if you miss a shot, don't worry about it. Everybody can take bad shots.
So looking forward, obviously that was a home game where there's a bad loss. How do you move forward from that? How do you take what you can learn from that game, but really in a way block it out of your head to look forward?
First, you have to watch film and take it all in. Coach Knapp always said, our volunteer assistant, he says, don't worry about it. Like, things are going to happen. You just have to learn from it and just move on, basically.
Yeah, just stay positive. It's in the past now. We learned from it. What we did wrong, we folded on. We folded. Next game, if a team makes a run, we know, okay, we can't do that. We got to come together. So you just put that game behind us and focus on the next game. Focus on Pitt Johnstown and hopefully come out of there with a win.
Yeah, speaking of Pitt Johnstown, that's the next game on the schedule. That's not a short road trip. Granted, you could say literally any trip is not a short road trip for us, but that is a very solid defensive team. What is going to be the strategy to try and break their solid defense?
I would just say, everything we got to do is it's got to be crisp. The pass has got to be crisp. Cuts got to be hard. Run off screen, shoulder to shoulder. Everything's got to be crisp because of how good they are and how smart they are. They have, their coach has been there for a long time. It's a very well coached team. They're very good. So you got to make everything sharp. And I think if we do that, we have a chance.
Yeah, like he said, just play hard, box out, and like if you have them like make mistakes, just don't dwell on it and just keep going.
And then very quickly, Saturday, Westchester. What's going to be the key for round number 2?
I think early on in that Westchester game, I remember we kind of were flustered. And I think when we settled in, I think we outplayed them. So I think if we could just, from the get-go, be settled in and ready to play, I think we have a good chance of beating them.
They have really great shooters. I feel like we just have to, like, fully deny the ball where, like, they can't touch the ball at all and just make them, like, panic, basically.
Well, guys, thank you so much for stopping by here.
Thank you.
And Sidelines continues after this. Do not go anywhere.
It's all part of Mother Nature's perfect blend, the keystone of the Keystone State. Visit Potter Tioga, a 2-county scenic outdoor haven conveniently located, yet worlds apart. A place where you can kick back, unwind, and forget about the pressures of life. Disconnect and reconnect with your friends, family, or even yourself while surrounded by nature's beauty. So start planning your adventures today at visitpottertioga.com.
That's going to do it for us here today, folks. To stay up to date on all things Mountaineer athletics, head over to GoMounties.com. We will see you next week.